So another day, I am doing the pre-flight checklist. I have my aviator bag. I bought my aviator goggles today, so I'm feeling like a real pilot. And my flight instructor just gave me the checklist. Checklist of things you gotta go through. This is my fastest review of the checklist. I went through the whole thing. I saved a little time because I didn't have to check fuel because somebody else flew the plane right before me, and they filled it up. But I'm actually feeling good about that because the checklist takes such a long time. It's one of those things that make me wonder how long it actually takes to get off the ground. So maybe it's not so bad. The lesson is over. I couldn't get any footage when I was in the air because I had to be focused on making sure that I did not do anything stupid with the airplane. I did a takeoff again. This is about my third or fourth takeoff. I feel comfortable doing takeoffs. We do a procedure called slow flight. We did something called a power off stall, where you turn off the power and you deliberately stall the engine or stall the wing, which is, the first time I did it was mortifying, scared the shit out of me. And now I'm used to it. Now I'm ready, and it's not such a bad procedure. It prepares you for the event that your wing stalls when you're landing. They also prepare you for the event that your wings could stall when you take off. If your angle is too high, that could be a problem. Also, I did something today that was new I have to get used to. So in the middle of the instruction, my flight instructor turns off the engine. He just turns off the power. And he says, okay, you have an engine failure right now. What do you do? So we were floating around at 65 knots per hour. I'm thinking the engine goes off. You ain't got much time. You will be amazed at how long an airplane can stay in the air with no power. So he's going through, there's a procedure. He says, so pull out. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, we don't have any power. We're just floating up here like with no engine on. Like, we gotta fix this, right? And he's like, no, pull out your checklist. So we pulled out a checklist. And he's just talking me through he's like, okay, now you got to go through your ABCs, look for a field to land in. You remember which direction the wind was coming from? I'm like, yeah, but the power's off. He's like, yeah, well, you got to remember which direction the wind's coming from. We got to pick a field. So how about that field right there? Because we're landing in the wind. And he's like, okay, now we got to go through the checklist to try to start the engine. You have an engine start checklist. And I'm like, yeah, but the engine is off, right? You're just thinking this. And I'm like, okay, boys, just be cool. And I'm looking, we're going 65 knots an hour. I'm looking at our altitude. We're not really sinking. We are going down, but we're not going down super fast. We're literally gliding. So I learned today that airplanes are built to really glide a long time. So we're just gliding, and we're gliding for several minutes. And we were going through the whole checklist, the whole procedure and everything. And he's just calmly taking me through it. And the plane had no power the entire time. And so now I know what to do. If I ever have an engine failure, I have a whole checklist you go through to try to get your engine started back up. And if you can't do that, then you got to go through a process of securing yourself, protecting your body, landing in a nearby field that will allow you to land into the wind. So the last part of the flight training today was I almost did a full landing by myself. I haven't done a full landing yet. This landing was a little tough. If you can see out there, you see that flag kind of waving? That flag shows how windy it is. It was a pretty windy day. So when we came down, I was ready. I went through the whole flight, the whole traffic pattern, and we made the call for the landing and all that. And I was like, okay, today's going to be my day. I think I'm going to really do a landing. And while we were coming down with the flaps down, the wind was just... And so that's something I got to get used to, because I was sitting there thinking, what if I was in this plane by myself? What if I didn't have my flight instructor next to me? I'm going to have to be able to land this damn thing. So really flying a plane is fun because you just kind of you got to figure this out. If you don't figure this out, it can go bad, right? So I'm really enjoying learning something new, and I'm getting better every day. And I'm learning, keep practicing, just keep practicing. There's a lot of procedures, a lot of little details, a lot of little steps, but I cannot wait to be able to fly by myself. So there you go. So here's my day. I think I've done maybe about 6 or 7 hours of flight time. So I'm still a baby at it, but I've studied, dozens and dozens, probably about 120 hours of time off out of the air, just going through all the procedures and the weather reports and everything. Plus I met those 3 black captains at UPS, and that really taught me a lot about, you know, just like what their experience was. So I'm pretty pumped up. This has been a lot of fun. So anyway, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. And I'll see you later. Peace.